Hi, this is Mary Kay. Today we are painting a coastal scene with poppies in the foreground. This is a quick ink and watercolor that I did of the scene we're painting, and here is a picture I took during COVID, and then this is from a seed catalog, and I put the two together. I made the ocean a little bit bigger here, and then I used water soluble tracing paper. So this is what we're going to be painting today. I have it traced out already. Now with poppies, it's the color that's really important, and we're going to paint these poppies first. So my brush is nice and clean, the water's clean here, and I'm using yellow. I just used the term yellow, but this yellow is either American Journey Bumblebee or Daniel Smith Hansa Medium, Hansa Yellow Medium. And the way to get the best poppy color is to start with yellow and just paint in the yellow. I'm not going to do them all at once because they need to be wet when you get that orange in, and they overlap. Poppies, well, you'll see when we put the orange on top of this yellow, you're going to see what happens. So let's just do that, and then I will talk about the shadowing in poppies. So here I'm starting with these big ones. I want a lot of overlap all through the poppy part of this painting, so they're just on top of each other. So now I get that in. Now I'm going to make some orange. So it's my yellow, and this is permanent rose. A lot of times I just call it pink. It makes the most beautiful orange. And I'm just going to put it in the bottoms of these. And it's going to blend up. I'm not painting every shadow just like I see it in the picture from the seed catalog. I'm just putting the orange in at the bottom. Because the color of the poppies is so important, that it the actual perfect little shape and shadows is not gonna really matter. Okay, so there's a few. Now I go back in, I clean my brush, I go back to the yellow, and I'm gonna do more of this, just doing the same thing. I'm doing yellow, and then I put the orange on top, because I can always put more orange on top. So here's this. So I'm kind of doing it in, I guess I'll do it in like little threes, because the first yellow has to be wet when you put the orange on top so that it blends. Okay, so here I go back into my orange. I need to make a little more. Okay, just putting it in here. This is going out to the edge. That's going to get sent out, going to get matted out. Maybe, and then I can even, I can put a little bit more on the top of these because it can be even brighter down here. So you can see that they're looking like poppies, even though I'm just painting so loosely. It's important to start with that yellow though. Okay, so now I'm going to go and do these ones at the very top that are going to be over. So we're on a bluff looking over Pilarcitos Creek. This one's, I want a couple. I don't have to follow my sketch exactly. I need to make a good painting. So there's one that's sticking out over the top. Here's one over the top. Here's one, there's these. There's a lot that are in this area. They kind of make a mass, really, more than anything at the top. It's making a mass. Okay, now I'm going back to the orange. So I put this in the bottom of each of these. And so it looks like orange and yellow blobs right now. I just mixed that up so this red is even brighter, or the bright orange. Again, I can go back down here and put this at the bottom. I don't have to draw it perfectly, every leaf, every petal, every shadow. I'm just suggesting there's variation in the orange. When the light shines on these poppies, the leaves, when there's two petals on top of each other, it gets the darker color. And I'm not gonna paint these exact, I'm just putting this dark. And then I'm gonna just stop here. There can be a couple like little buds. The buds are always good. Just little, the buds are good, yeah, 1, 2, 3, those are different. Okay, great. So I'm going to wipe up this orange and yellow. Very easy to get those colors back because the yellow is pure and the orange is just pink and yellow, permanent rose. What I'm gonna do now is go up to the top and do the sky. I'm gonna use, I really cleaned my brush because I don't want a yellow sky. This is cerulean blue. I'm gonna put up here in the sky. I'm gonna wet my sky just a little bit. I'm just adding, I have blue in my brush, but I just added water. Actually, that's not too far away from what I need. This is cerulean blue. I'm adding it in now to my dirty water. I'm leaving some white areas. I'm bringing it down to the mountains and the horizon line. I'm leaving a couple of white areas of paper showing. I'm going to leave that sky just like it is. And while I have this blue out, I'm going to go and put some in the water here. So this is Pilarcitos Creek. And the sky is reflecting into the water here. It makes like this little, I think they call that an oxbow. And then it joins the ocean out there. And here, the sand is starting to show, so I'm gonna add a little bit of French ultramarine blue to this. And this. And then the closer to the bluff here, this is, you can see the sand underneath it, so it's starting to turn brown. I'm going to add burnt sienna to this puddle. Going around that one. So it's just making the suggestion that that's the creek going out. Now my sky should be dry, so I'm going to go in with this. There's a back mountain, and it's French ultramarine blue and burnt sienna. A little bit more on the French. It ends up just being blue because of the atmospheric perspective. The atmosphere takes away all the green. We know that those are green. It's a green hill, but when you're looking through the atmosphere, it looks gray-blue. I think I got it a little bit too on the gray. So I'm going to take a piece of clean paper towel that's not orange and lift that up and put a little more French into it. So this is that back hill. I wish I knew what the name of this was. That mountain back there. And now I'm going to add some Antwerp blue and burnt sienna to get this dark green that I love. And I'm going to put in some trees right in here. I'm still using this number 10 round brush, like a museum brush. Sometimes I call it a pencil brush because it has a pencil on the end. It has a very nice tip. So I'm putting in this little row of trees. Can even go above the mountain right there. Anytime you have overlapping, it's always good. So that's this spot right here. I raised that mountain. Now I'm going to put in the ocean. In this paint, in this the photograph right here, the ocean is this tiny little piece, but I made it bigger. And it looks very much like this color in here. It's the French ultramarine blue and the cerulean. It's very pale out there. Horizon lines always need to be straight. I don't like that color so much. I'm going to go more with a little bit of cerulean in there. Just trying to keep my horizon straight. And then it comes to a point, and then the bottom of it is white water. Right here is where it's hitting the shore, and that stays white. Then there's perfectly white paint, and then there is going to be just a little bit of pale burnt sienna below the white water. This is the sand. There's the tiniest bit of white water and sand back here too. That's the ocean. I really emphasized it, made it, you know, like 10 times bigger than it is in the photograph because I know it's there and we all know it's there. Now I'm going to go to these hills here. They're green, they're bluffs, they're covered in grass. So I'm going to make a little bit lighter green for these to start with. So this lighter springy green is Antwerp and yellow. So I'm gonna start with this one. So here it's coming down. This one too. The bottoms of these get darker. You go to that dark green, and while it's damp, I just put this dark green at the bottom and it'll blend up into that lighter green, and hopefully it'll kind of look like a cliff. You can even just put brown in there. Just some burnt, oh, that wasn't burnt sienna. This is burnt sienna. You just try a little burnt sienna and French ultramarine blue at the base of these. You're just letting the colors blend wet into wet. Your brush has wet paint in it, you're putting on the damp paper, and it just sort of blends, and then you go, okay, that looks good, leave it alone. And then in here, I see more of this spring green. I just went over, I'm being a little bit sloppy. This is green little grasses and sandy beach. So that's the brown. Again, I want this wet into wet. So, well, the paper, I start wet on dry, and then the paper's kind of wet, and then I put more paint on it, and it blends. And I'm just trying to just be loose. I'm painting. I'm letting the paint do the work. I'm not doing the work. I have this one to go. What color do I want to make this one? Green or sort of darkish brown? How about, let's do dark green. So I'm going to do Antwerp and burnt sienna. Oops, not that color. Okay, and I'm just going to bring it in here. Going around those couple poppies. Around the bud. Now I'm going to put some other colors into that. I'm going to do some French ultramarine blue. See how that looks, see if I like it. And some burnt sienna. Oh, that might add some of those colors over here. Because if I have it there, I need to have, if I have it here, I need to have it here and there too, a couple other spots. Okay, now I'm going to just kind of use a thirsty brush and sort of get those to sort of blend in. Okay. I am going to put in a little bit more of this sand, because I have some spots here that are mostly white and they need to be a little darker sand, and then I'll work on the grass. So this is burnt sienna and French ultramarine blue. And right next to the water, there's parts where the sand is wet, and then it kind of gets some gravel. It's in the shadow. I don't know, do I like that right there? No, I'm just gonna put some of that there too. So I'm getting this to look like this sand is the sand that's been the most disturbed lately. This is the water, and then this has been disturbed. Disturbed meaning that the water's come up and down on it. Okay. Can go back in later and add more. We'll look at it when it's done and see how it's looking. Okay, now I'm going to get rid of this little spot here so that I can make some nice greens. The greens this time of year on the coast are just spectacular. They're so yellow. So here's the yellow, and I'm going to add Antwerp blue and make light green. That's going to be my color on the cliff here to start with. Just painting it in. I don't care if I go over the orange a little bit. I am trying to go around the orange. Every one of those little orange spots. But I'm leaving some white paper. I'm going over some of it. I kind of have like a little circle of color here. I don't know if I like that or not. If I don't, I'll just add some more. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. I just added pink to my yellow instead of Antwerp. There we go. That's what we want. Okay, so now I'm filling in all this. It looks like it's just kind of all boring right now, but what's going to happen is I'm going to add the darks in around, dark greens in around these poppies, and you're going to just see them just pop out. It's incredible, just those few darks will do. So I have my lightest green at the top near the top of the bluff, and now I'm going darker greens down here to the base of the painting. And all I'm doing is going around these poppies. So once I get that first layer on, then every layer after this is wet into wet. So I'm just going to keep layering in to my grass here. It's a great place to sign my name. If I had a signer out, I might even do it. Okay, so that's reading poppy field looking out over an ocean scene. What I'm going to do now is make some really dark green. I have to be brave now. I got to put my big girl pants on. That's some nice dark green there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in underneath these poppies here and get some real dark greens right at the base of these, and you can just see that pops them out. Getting really close to being done with this painting because it's sort of painting itself. I'm gonna darken this corner. I don't want my eye to go out this painting. I do want to have maybe like I'll just scrape a couple stems through the dark, and it might I can paint it, scrape it. Sometimes if I scrape, it ends up making a dark line, and sometimes when I scrape, it ends up making a light line. They both look good. The brightest, darkest colors are going to be the closest to us. These poppies are really popping out. And I'm just adding a little bit more up here. This is like a medium green. I'm adding it in there. I'm going to put some dark green in here, like it's kind of maybe in the shadow a little bit. do some more dark greens. So my dark green is Antwerp and burnt sienna. I want some of that dark green right in here too, because I want my eyes to be there too. And this is where my eye is going, and I'm doing that by adding the highest contrast right in here. So I'm leading my eye around this painting by adding these darks. Okay, I like a lot of this. I like the poppies. I'm gonna really clean my brush out well now, and I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna make this poppy a little bit brighter. I don't want to have green in my poppy, so I'm gonna clean my yellow paint out. Just gonna brighten these guys up here. So I start with the yellow again, but then add pink to my yellow to make orange. You know, I think I need some spots of orange in here, because there would be, we can't just have poppies right here and not back on this little hillside. And I think we could even like see some back here. I think that will add to it, especially in those little white spots. We're not going to see them back there, but here we could see them. I don't really like that dark green spot there. It's in the photo, but it's not doing it for me now. I think when I paint this in class, I'm gonna lighten this up. Right now, I'm gonna try to fix this painting. So I'm scrubbing at it. I'm blotting it. Now I'm gonna add some light green on top and see if that helps a little. I'm not trying to make it perfect now. If I have that color there, I'm gonna have it, yeah, put it over here too. Yeah, I could even put some orange into that wet paint. And I think maybe I'll have fixed it. I've helped it, not totally fixed it. I'm gonna stand up and look at this painting. I feel like it needs to be just a little darker in here. I almost hate to touch it, but I do think that I can improve it. So a painting is done when your next, the painting is done right before the next brush stroke makes it worse. So if I make this worse, then my painting was done. I'm going to try to add a little more French Ultra right in here to see if it makes it feel like more like the creek is going in. Well, I don't think I'm really going to help it much if I do too much more. Well, no, now I see one more thing I want to try to do. I want to try to get the dark brown. Dark brown. So not so much gray, but brown, dark brown. I just want to like put it here at the, where the sandbar is meeting the river. I I have to be careful that I keep all this background muted. I can't have my darkest darks back there. This has to be. And yeah, so I got to be careful that I'm seeing all these little things I want to fix, but sometimes you just can't. You just have to let them be good enough. Okay, I'm gonna quit. Yeah. All right. Thanks for watching till the end.